Welcome to my channel. Here we are at beautiful and very sunny Peña del Bernal. We're going to photograph, we're going to process those images, we're going to print them. And in this video series, we're going to go through the whole photographic workflow from image capture all the way to the print. That's the medium most photographers work in. That's the medium that we're going to work on today. So let's go into the intro. We'll be right back. All right, so day one, I've been shooting a lot with my Nikon ZF. I've done some close-ups. I've done some landscapes. This afternoon, I'm going to shoot a landscape, panoramic landscape of the Peña itself. It's going to be several images that I'm going to stitch together in Photoshop or Lightroom. I don't know yet, but we'll go through the whole process together. So the first step, guys, the first step in image capture is to first think of the scene. What do you want to portray? What kind of light you like to use? And that usually comes with a composition, with slowing down your process and choosing carefully how you want your print to be, because at the end of the day, it's not the image in the back of your screen, it's your print. That's what you have to think about from beginning to end. So for example, this afternoon I'm going to take a panoramic of the Peña de Bernal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 50mm f1.2, which is a beautiful S lens from Nikon. It renders colors beautifully, very sharp. And the reason I'm choosing the 50 is because I'm going to be taking a series of images and putting into one. Why wouldn't I use a 20mm or 24mm lens? The reason for that is I believe that you can get excellent image quality. You can get more details. After all, I mean, if you think about it, I'm going to stitch probably 5 different images together. So it becomes like a large format uh, digital file, if you think about it. So we'll go through that process together. I could have used a wider lens, but no, I want to try something a little bit different. All right. So at the end of the day, guys, your photographic process is yours. In this series, I'm going to show you guys a lot of ideas, concepts to improve your workflow, to improve your image quality, to improve color calibration. Guys, we're going to talk about color calibration, which is key. The first images that I shot today were daylight with my Calibrite Color Checker, shadow, and at one point it was very cloudy, and I took some calibration shots, which I'll show you later on in the post-production process. All right, so welcome to my channel. Please subscribe. Let's go and take some more pictures. Have a good one. Here we are back from Peña de Bernal. Yesterday I went on a quad all the way up the Peña for some photographs, and it was a rough ride. The road was very bumpy, it was really difficult to work with, but I managed to get it all the way up there. Once I got there, I put my 50mm like I planned, and I did some panoramics. The light was really nice. There was a lot of reds and greens in the mountains, which was beautiful, but the light was changing very quickly because it was about blue hour, and eventually I got the blues and some of the vivid colors of sunset, and that's when I went crazy and I started shooting panoramics. What I did, actually, I did pixel shift shots, 32 frames, 32 images, which I'm going to merge into one, and I did about 4 of them panoramic of the Peña de Bernal, which is insane, which is absolutely insane. It's too much resolution. I mean, I'm not going to print that big, but I just wanted to give it a try. Worst case scenario, I have extra copies of the same image, so I was happy. At the end of the day, I ended up taking out my 24 to 70 and I put it on 70 millimeters, and I did a couple of panels that way because I noticed that the moon was rising, full moon was rising in the background. I mean, at 70 millimeters, you don't get a large moon, but it was interesting to get that into the panoramic. Hopefully, in the print, to be more visible. But it was great. Well, talking about image capture, I want to go over a couple of things real quick. First of all, one of the things that photographers should always carry with them is a color checker passport, or there are other brands that make something like this too. It's for color calibration. I highly recommend this. I usually start my day by photographing this and creating a profile. What a profile does is it adjusts your lens, your camera, your sensor, the light. It calibrates it perfectly. And you can also do white balance. How does this help? It saves you time because at the end of the day, you can calibrate all the images that you shot that day, even if you're doing landscape. In the studio, this is absolutely necessary. Product photography, it's a must because you have to match the colors of the product. You have to get it perfect. One of the reasons I use this is I shoot several shots of the card under different conditions, cloudy, sunny, indoor, just to get my skin tones perfectly the same, and my colors perfectly the same across all my images. Consistency is a big part of um, image quality, and it also does something that a lot of photographers don't talk about. It improves image sharpness. If you have a cloudy day like today and there's a lot of blue in the sky, if you have your camera calibrated, you can remove that blue, and actually what that does is increases color contrast, and color contrast improves perceived sharpness. So that's a big tip right there. Secondly, light meters. Why do I carry a light meter around when we have little screens on the back of our cameras and we have ways to check our exposure? The reason is to be absolutely sure that I get the most accurate exposure possible, which will give me the best file to work with, which will give me more latitude to work with. And when I'm in doubt, I use my light meter, and everything turns out great. So I would recommend it. You don't have to use it all the time, but it does help, especially in situations that you're not sure about, especially about contrast. Guys, contrast is still something that photographers have to worry about. Here in Bernal, what I did, I shot most of my images using highlight protection in my camera. What it does is it exposes for the highlights. So when I look at the screen on the back of my camera, the shadows look underexposed. Well, that's fine. We can fix that in post. Um, no big deal. The detail is going to be there. But at sometimes when I wasn't sure about the contrast, when I wasn't sure about the exposure, it takes me 1 second. I take a light reading, and um, and I shoot it, and I take the shot. So, all right. So these are the tips for image capture. Get the best possible file that you can. I think a lot of photographers, they trust that little JPEG image on the back of their cameras too much. I think that's a big mistake. Don't trust that screen. It's a compressed JPEG. The colors are too vivid, it's over sharpened, and usually it's compensated for some type of exposure or some kind of profile. Don't trust at the screen. Trust your instinct, trust your experience. That's why I use a color checker, and sometimes I use a light meter, because at the end of the day, the best files make the best images. Thank you so much. This is the first part of the series. This is image capture. Next, we're going to go into post processing, and the last video, printing. All right. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, do so, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.